Welcome to the Inclusive Plug series Reimagine, powered by RECONOMY, where we explore the stories of system change and inclusion. Today we're going to talk more about the topic which is very important but sometimes overlooked, the inclusion in the workplace. Let's take a closer look at the waste management sector in Western Balkans, which is vital for environmental sustainability and growth. And while traditionally dominated by men, more women are stepping into the sector, challenging the current stereotypes and contributing to a greener future. We will also explore the experience of Roma women who are turning waste collection and recycling into opportunities for economic empowerment, helping to reshape their perceptions and build more inclusive communities. To discuss this issue, we have today with us Dina Arnaut, Chief Executive Officer at Ready Recycling, a social enterprise in North Macedonia. Welcome, Dina.
Hi, Natalia. Thank you very much for inviting me to your podcast, and thanks to the whole team of RECONOMY that has been supporting us throughout the years. I'm very happy to be here and discuss this very important subject with you.
Thank you so much for your time. And let's start with discussing a bigger picture. Waste management, as I mentioned, is very essential for the economy, but is often considered men's work. Could you please explain us and share your experience, what it's like for women in the industry?
I want to say this very clearly. This is not just men's work. That's more so a myth that has been rooted in outdated power structures. Women are out here every single day collecting, sorting, lifting, recycling, hauling, and they're doing it while unfortunately being invisible most of the time. The reality for women in waste management, especially Roma women, is harsh, dangerous, and ignored. These are women who are working without contracts, without protective equipment, without access to health insurance or maternity care. Many of them are doing this also while pregnant or while caring for young children who often follow their mom's steps and follow them as they work through dumpsters, bins in very unsafe areas and environments. And this is not just physical labor, it's also emotional labor, and unfortunately it's survival for them. I remember one morning very vividly that happened recently. I was walking down the street and I saw two mothers. One of them was stepping out of her car. She gently kissed her child and walked them into the kindergarten that was on the street, which is a picture-perfect morning, isn't it? But the other one, which was maybe 100 meters down the street, she was also a young mom, and she was a Roma woman that was pushing a cart that was helping her daughter dig through the dumpster for recyclable bottles. Both were trying to do the same things. Both moms were trying to do the same things, which is give their child a future. But the difference between them is not just about money. It's about visibility, dignity, and access to opportunities. The waste management sector contributes enormously to the environmental sustainability. In fact, the informal collectors, which many of them are actually Roma women, are responsible for retrieving up to 60% of recyclable materials in many Balkan cities, also in Skopje. And yet their labor is not recognized, and they're left out of public services, development plans, and national strategies. They're spoken about as if they are the problem, and while in the reality they are the backbone of the solution. And I think we cannot continue to allow women to carry this burden in silence. We see them, and we know what is happening. So the question is, why are we all still choosing not to act?
Thank you so much for highlighting the biggest challenges that women in the sector are facing. And I know that you work a lot to address those challenges. Could you please tell us about the positive changes in the sector that could contribute to women's rights specifically?
Well, us in Ready, or we at Ready, we are trying to formalize the informal waste collectors, including the Roma women. And I think that we all need to stop hiding behind the narrative that this is very complicated to fix, because it's not. What we're dealing with is not lack of resources, it's lack of will, a lack of imagination, and a comfort with the injustice that we have normalized. We're trying, in Red Recycling, we're trying to model or to pilot a model that is more than just an inclusive system. We offer contracts to our workers, real jobs with real protections. We provide training, safety gear, mentorship, and above all, dignity. We call our workers green agents because for us, that's exactly what they are. But honestly, it has not been easy and is still not easy because the institutional change is very slow. Policies move slow or not at all. And the biggest obstacle we face is probably trust, not even money. We have tried hiring Roma women or formalizing their informal work when it comes to waste collection, but many of them did not possess driving license, which is actually mandatory for this or for our job. So we offered to pay for the licenses, but they said we said we will support you through this process. We will pay for it. We will give you, we'll lead you through the whole process. But yet most of them still said no. It's not because they're lazy or they don't want to work, because they still do it every day. But it's because they do not believe that this will lead anywhere, because the formal world has failed them so many times. So we changed our approach. As you said, a positive change is we try to find another solution to help these Roma women, young women, mothers, older women. So through our RECONOMY project, actually, we are now setting up upcycling workshops, which are safe, accessible spaces where Roma women can learn new skills, which will allow them to work from home and start to build their own businesses. We will provide everything: materials, trainings, ongoing support, and this is not charity, this is entrepreneurship. This is believing in them when everybody else stopped or failed to. We are also tackling digital exclusion, because many of these women have never owned a smartphone. They have been shut out of digital platforms, e-commerce platform, online banking. So we step in here. We create bridges, we offer tools, not handouts. We walk with them until they're strong enough to walk on their own.
Thank you so much. Indeed, these are the examples of the system change. In particular, the providing of driving licenses for women to benefit more in the sector. But as you mentioned, there are some self-limiting beliefs among women. How do you work with that? How do you work maybe through the community leaders to make sure that women's voice are heard and that we can address those? Thank you.
Well, it's not easy because, as I said, they do not believe in anything that's formal or anything that's systematic. So we try to approach them through the community. As I said, since Red Recycling is part of REDI and the wider network of Roma Foundation for Europe, we use all our capacities and resources to be able to reach these women and to gain their trust. As I said, our problem is not really money. It's trust. It's trust from the women or from the people that have been disappointed so many times, but also from the institutions in our, let's say, solutions or our ideas that we have. Roma women face what I call layered exclusion, because it's not just one barrier. It's a wall that has been built from gender discrimination, ethnic prejudice, and systematic neglect of their labor, which is most of the time informal. They're pushed to the very bottom of the economic ladder, and they're blamed for being there. For example, according to UNDP, around 90% of Roma women in the Western Balkans are not in employment, education, or training, which is an entire generation of women that is just left outside of the formal systems. Around 70% of them do not have any personal income. They mostly depend on the men in their families. So we are trying to make them believe in themselves. We're trying to show them that they're very, very capable of doing what any woman is doing. So it's a very slow process, but we are really giving all we can to somehow change this, but change it long term, not change the lives of a few Roma women, but actually change the mentality and change the belief they have.
Yeah, behavior change takes time indeed. And you mentioned important criteria, the building trust. In this regard, I would like to ask you about your own journey in the waste management. Like, How many years are you working in this sector? What was your motivation to join it, and how you are becoming maybe the role model for those women? How you inspire them by your own example? That would be very interesting to know. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I have been in the waste management sector for about a year now, and but my education has always been rooted in human rights. That was something that I was always very much focused on. But to be honest, I think I was advocating for human rights long before I ever had the language to call it that. Even as a child, I remember standing up for other kids who were being left out or picked on, which was an instinct for me. I did not realize it then, but that was the beginning of the path that I'm still walking now. And it's not only about waste management. I deeply care about the environment. I deeply care about the future that our children will live in. So I kind of combined the two passions I had, which is human rights and the environment. And this is how I found myself here. So protecting those who are not being protected and making space for those who are constantly being pushed to the margins is something that deeply, deeply inspires me in my work, in any sector I work in.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Earlier, you mentioned the question of the working conditions, the potential harassment that women can face, and overall, like globally, according to ILO, approximately 22% of workforce face violence and harassment at work. Is it the case for the waste management, and what are the mechanisms to prevent and react to those? Thank you.
Thank you, Natalia. Well, I actually come from the defense sector, which is another area that's heavily dominated by men. And I personally learned how to navigate power, pressure, and politics in rooms where I was often the only woman, as it is now in the waste management sector. And even though I had to fight to be taken seriously, I always had something that, for example, Roma women that are in the waste management sector don't, which is a salary, a contract, legal protections, institutional backing. I had the structure, even if I had to battle to thrive with it. When it comes to the harassment, of course, as in any sector, there are cases, maybe isolated, but of course there are cases where women do not feel comfortable doing the job that they do. For example, in my personal case, I needed to wear a fake wedding ring on some of the meetings I had because some of the time I was approached in a manner that was not very professional. But then I thought, why do I need to invent a man to be comfortable to be in a room that I deserve to be in? But in my case, as I said, I had all the backing. I had all the conditions to think this and to change this for myself. But Roma women do not have this. They are on the streets, they are being touched inappropriately, they are being harassed. Some of the times there are cases like this. So once again, I always like to do this parallel between me, who has a stable, normal, formal job, and Roma women who I advocate for that unfortunately do not have any of this and do not believe in themselves or in changing this for them.
Yeah, wow, thank you for sharing that and speaking openly about this issue. I believe this is important to raise awareness and also to make sure that other women know that they're not alone and that there are services for them to help to address gender-based violence. There are free toll lines where they can report the case of the harassment or any type of violence. Usually, it's more common to understand that physical or sexual violence is happening, but sometimes it's harder to acknowledge that psychological violence is also a case to report, or economic violence when a spouse is not allowed to work, or when the passport is taken away from the employee. And those are also the cases to be reported. And there are this kind of dedicated toll-free North Macedonia and anywhere in Western Balkans and beyond. And we will add the numbers in the comment section to spread the message. and encourage women to speak up and seek help. In this regard, I may ask you also, Dina, what would be your advice to women, and some inspiration, some wisdom from you to share with our listeners would be very important.
Well, the first thing that I would like to say is for them to believe in themselves. Every woman, it doesn't matter where she comes from, what ethnicity she is, it really doesn't matter. It's important to believe in yourself, men or women. But since men are somehow believing in themselves more, even when they don't need to, in some cases, women are always somehow traditionally pushed aside. And I can remind us of Marie Curie, who discovered radioactivity. She was the first woman to win the Nobel Prize not once, but twice. And yet, when she was first nominated for the Nobel in Physics, the committee left her name out of the nomination. And it was only after her husband, Pierre, that insisted that she would be credited alongside with him, and that's when her name was added. So we should all think about that. A woman who changes the course of science, whose research still saves life to this day, needed a man's signature just to be taken seriously. If she could be erased from history potentially, what chance do the women have whose names we never even bother to learn? So the Roma women collect bottles until 5 a.m., the mother raising children beside the landfill, the one holding a city's recycling system on her back and still being treated as if she doesn't exist. Justice that excludes the most silent among us is never, or it was never, and it's not justice. It's mere performance. So I would like all women to fight for the women that cannot fight for themselves, to make space for them whenever they can, to be their voice whenever they can, until they have their voice as loud as they should have.
Wow, this is very powerful and very inspiring. Thank you so much. The visibility of women is a very powerful topic, and this is what we definitely need to work on to make sure that they are heard, they're visible, their contribution is recognized. As we said, that the waste management is a very vital for the economy, and we simply can't overlook the contribution of women into this sector. And I know that you also have an interesting project that helps women to gain their economic independence through selling their goods on the e-commerce platform. And maybe you could tell us more about this one.
Of course, thank you, Natalia. As I mentioned earlier, as part of the RECONOMY project that we're currently working on, we are going to kick off with the upcycling initiative or upcycling workshops, where we will provide everything and we will focus on Roma women and youth, because focusing on youth, I think it's very important in order to change the mentality and to change the future of a nation. So we will provide them with the necessary skills, materials, equipment, everything that is needed for them to learn a new skill that will provide them with a business that they can have on their own. And this is, I think, very important for Roma women, because traditionally they're the caregivers of the kids, so they don't really go out of their houses to earn, but some of them, or a vast majority of them, is more so inside the house with no possibility to earn any income, and they are dependent on the males of the family. So in this regard, this is why we are going to start with this initiative, where they will be able to produce even from the comfort of their own home. And since, once again, in order to help them to place this product that they will potentially make or they will make, we have also the PapaCraft platform, which is an inclusive e-commerce platform that will give the space to Roma women and Roma youth to place the products that they produce, not only through our workshop, but also whatever craftsmanship they have, or whatever production they can do on a micro level. So having this platform is not the end, because as I said, most of them don't lack digital skills, they lack the infrastructure for this. So REDI will assist them in this process throughout the whole process, from the skills to the sales of the products they do. So we will be there hand by hand through the whole way. We will help enhance their digital skills. We will help them have financial literacy. We will formalize their work in a way that's the most efficient for them, and we will basically be the bridge for them in this regard.
Perfect. I like that we are finishing on the positive, optimistic note. And I wish you all the best in this important work you are doing. I'm very interested to hear the opinion of our listeners today, and we look forward to receiving the comments and insights from you. Please feel free to share with us your feedback. And also, thank you, Dina, for sharing your life journey and your contribution to the waste management and empowering Roma women in particular. Thank you so much, and stay tuned for more stories that matter.
Thank you very much, Natalia. Thank you for the time, and thank you for giving me the platform so I can be my own voice, but also the voice for Roma women.